Good morning, Fishbourne Primary School. Happy Monday. I hope the sun is shining. I'm filming this on Friday and it is glorious outside. The sky is blue and I really hope we have a weekend full of beautiful weather that you're able to enjoy. Welcome to a new week and a new opportunity to explore our theme of our assemblies this term. Before we do that, I just want to share with you this lovely poster. You should have one of these in your classroom, and it's there to remind you each and every day about the important things that we believe at this school. It says, at Fishbourne Church of England Primary School, we believe there is only one you, created by God. That's so important. We recognise that in each of your classrooms there are 30 unique and very special and very talented children. And we believe as a school that you are going to go on to do amazing things with the learning that you do, because we also know that we want you to use your learning to make the world a better place to be. Now, last time I filmed an assembly, I wasn't here all by myself. I was here with 4 children from Elephant's class, if you remember, and we started our theme of our assemblies for this term, which was around collaboration, which is one of our learning behaviours, because we recognise that when we work alongside other people, we do much better. When we share ideas, when we learn from each other, when we take feedback from each other, we do even better in our learning. And our assemblies this term celebrate what happens when people come together and they collaborate to make the world a better place to be. So our 4 little elephants who we met the week before last had collaborated because they had spotted a problem in school with the footballs, and they decided that rather than moan about it and complain about it, they would do something positive about it and raise some money to replace them. And now you are all playing with the balls that those children raised money for. So a huge thank you and shout out again to those 4 incredible little elephants. Now, I've been hearing some wonderful stories coming out of classrooms over the last couple of weeks. I have received an email from children in Hippo's class to let me know that as a result of the learning they've been doing about plastic pollution, they would like to go out into our village and do a litter pick, because they have learned that plastic pollution and litter causes huge problems. And they want to do something about it. So they brilliantly have used their learning and thought about, okay, so we've learnt this and we know we want to do something about it. We want to do something practical. Let's make the world a better place to be by going out there and picking up that litter. Such a lovely example of the children in Hippo's class collaborating, working together as a team to make our environment better. Meanwhile, on the other side of the school, Penguin's class have been doing something similar. So their learning experience kicked off with a visit from Tuppenny Barn. And Tuppenny Barn were talking to the children about how important bees are for our environment and the very important role that they play and why we should take such special care of bees. If you'd like to know more about that, do ask a penguin when you bump into one. As a result of their learning, Penguin class are going to be writing to our neighbours, and they're going to be gifting them a special item that will enable them to plant seeds in their gardens that will attract the bees. Not only are they going to give them those seeds, they're also going to give them some instructions about how to use them, and really importantly, an explanation about why that is so important. It is so wonderful to hear stories coming out of our school about how we are using our learning to make the world around us a better place to be. I feel like an exceptionally proud head teacher to know the impact that you're having on each other, on your families, and on our wider community. So a really big well done. You're joining me today to hear another story about a group of people who set out to work together to make the world a better place to be. And for the first time, we're dipping into this beautiful book, How to Change the World. Now, the first thing I'd like to do this morning is share with you 3 items I picked up when I went shopping this morning before school. And I would like you to see if you can work out what the connection between my 3 items is. Okay, so first up, I have a bar of chocolate. That looks delicious, doesn't it? Dark chocolate with orange. Now have a good look at that packet. Anything you notice about it? Okay, I'm going to show you the next item. Now, teachers will smile because they'll know this was an essential item on my shopping list this morning. Some of you might recognise what that is if you have parents who enjoy this too. Okay, so this is coffee. Okay, so 2 items so far. We've got our coffee and our chocolate. Can you think about what the link between those 2 items might be? Okay, I wish I had 3 hands at this point, children, but we're going to go with our 3rd item. Okay, I've got a packet of bananas. Now, it's unfortunate that my bananas are wrapped in plastic, isn't it, hippos? I'm sure you'll have a thing or two to say about that, but I wanted to show them to you in the packet because that kind of helps us to link our 3 items together. Teachers, what I'd like you to do is press pause so the children can have a conversation about what they think the link is between these items. I wonder what ideas you came up with. I would so love to be able to hear them, and this is where I miss so very much having you all in the hall together so I can hear your wonderful ideas. I wonder if you noticed a symbol that appeared across all 3 of my items. If you didn't, maybe press pause again and see if you can spot that symbol. Okay, I'm going to help you a little bit now by sharing with you the symbol that's a little bit larger between my 3 items. This is the symbol. Now, that might help some of you, especially older children. Have a think about what that symbol represents. And if you're not sure, here's one that includes a word. There we go. So the one of the links, and I'm sure there are many links between my items, but one of the links was that all 3 of my items were fair trade items. Now, I'm going to share with you a little bit this morning about what that word means, fair trade. If you're in older classes, you might like to stop and have a conversation about that already, okay? If you're not, you might just want to keep playing. Okay. So in my book today, I'm going to share with you a little bit about the start of fair trade, okay? This is what we know about fair trade. The fair trade movement wants everyone to think about the people who have created the food that we eat and the clothes that we wear. Now I'm going to stop after that first sentence, because that might be another thing that you talked about when you were talking about the links between my 3 items, okay? You might have connected them as being items that are not grown in England or the UK or anywhere very close to us. Because all 3 of these items, the cocoa that goes into chocolate, the coffee that is ground to make my ground coffee in the mornings, and the bananas, all of these items are grown in countries where the temperature is very much warmer than it is in the UK. The fair trade movement wants us to stop, and it wants to think about who grew those items. Now, the fair trade movement started back in the 1940s with a lady who was called Edna Ruth Byler. And there's a picture of her there. And she had spent quite a lot of time selling crafts that had been made in different countries that actually were made by people who were trying to make a living out of the products that they were selling. Now, these groups of people who made these products were giving their products or selling their products to big companies who sold them on their behalf. And what was happening was that the big companies might have bought a product for 20p from the person who made it, and then they went on to sell it for a lot more money. And that money, the extra money, didn't go back to the people who made it. It was put straight in the pockets of those people who had bought the products, the big companies. So it says, these groups noticed that big companies were getting rich, while the workers who were putting all the hard work in were not being paid fairly for their work. They lived on a tiny amount of money each day. And the fair trade movement wanted to change that. They wanted to make sure that the people who made the products, or the people who grew the products, were being paid a fair amount of money for the work that they were doing. And that was really important. Now, since then, the fair trade movement has grown bigger and bigger and bigger. When I went to the shop this morning, I wondered how hard it would be to find products that were fair trade. And the amazing thing, little fish, was that in the shop I visited this morning, which was the Co-op, the first item I found for each of these products was fair trade. Now, I find that really brilliant and amazing, because when I pick up my bag of bananas and I see my fair trade symbol, I know that by buying these, that the people who grew them are receiving a fairer amount of money for the work that they have done than if this symbol was not on the product. And that, when I'm doing my shopping, makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside, because I know that buying these bananas instead of a bunch of bananas that doesn't have the symbol on it makes the world a better place to be for the farmers who grew this product. Now, we're going to go back to our book, okay? It says, ordinary people, like you and me, have helped spread the word by buying fair trade and encouraging others to do the same. Today there are all sorts of things that are fair trade. Coffee, chocolate, sugar, fruits like bananas, flowers, cotton, and even gold. So the fair trade mark is trusted all around the world, and it continues to make a huge difference to the farmers, and there's some lovely illustrations in this book, to the farmers who have grown those items. It means that we are moving one step in the right direction. It means that everyone is encouraged to remember that there are people who are behind the things that we buy and what it means to be fair to them. There's a couple of examples here. I'm just going to talk about the example of chocolate. Now, it says here, chocolate is a luxury product, but many cocoa farmers in places like Ghana earn less each day than the price of a nice chocolate bar. So, the farmers who set out to grow the cocoa to make my bar of chocolate, in many cases, earn less money than I paid for this. So this morning I paid £1.20 for this bar of chocolate. And many farmers across the world of cocoa will have been paid less than that. When I buy this bar of chocolate, I know that the farmers who were responsible for growing the cocoa will have received the correct amount of money for what they have grown. It says here that, as we know, cocoa is a delicate plant and it's easily damaged by the sun and the wind and the pests and disease. Fair trade makes sure growers are paid a fair price to protect them when times are tough. So, as a result of the idea that Edna Ruth Byler had all those years ago in the 1950s, and the spreading of the word of fair trade, now we all can work together as a team to collaborate, to try our best when we can to make sure that the products that we buy have got a fair trade symbol on them, which means that the farmers involved in the growing of these products will have been paid a fair amount for the work that they have done. Okay, children, thank you for listening so carefully. We're going to finish our assembly now with a prayer. I'm actually going to hold it up so that you can join in if you would like to. Okay, here we go. Father God, open my eyes to the world around me. Enable me to be inspired by the positive actions of others. Help me to see ways to work in collaboration with those around me to make the world a better place to be. Amen. Maybe take a moment now at the end of this assembly to have a conversation with somebody around you about what the learning you are doing in your classroom at the moment. How can you use that learning to make the world a better place to be? What could you do as a result of what you have found out to make things better for those around us? Have a conversation with somebody near you and maybe share your ideas together as a class. Have a wonderful week, children. I look forward lots to seeing you on the playground and hearing about your lovely ideas. Have a great start to your week. I'm just going to blow out our candle and then I will leave you to carry on with the rest of your day.